In this, the season of impeachment, will Donald Trump make you money or cost you money? In this part of the Investment Advisor, we ask the simple question, is Donald Trump making you money or is he costing you money? Because an American president has a big impact, not just on American markets, but on global markets. And Donald Trump is larger than life in many ways. I know in Washington there's an impeachment hearing underway. I'm not talking about politics here. I'm simply talking about what aspects of the American economy, what aspects of the Trump presidency must you think about as you're pondering your investments. I know when you listen to professional economists, and I'm not one of them, they talk a lot about monetary policy, they talk a lot about fiscal policy. Let's strip away those big terms. Some of you understand them, not everybody does. And let's talk about the ways in which an American presidency, the administration of the American president, can influence global bond and stock markets. One way is by spending more money, and that's by running a budget deficit, which the United States does to almost $1 trillion a year. So that's one way in which the Trump presidency is closer in some ways to Democratic administrations in the past. It spends a lot more money than it takes in. The second way the Trump administration can influence global markets is simply by cutting interest rates. I know it doesn't directly control the Fed, but indirectly it can jawbone its way down to lower interest rates. The effect of lower interest rates is generally to stimulate stock markets around the world. In deciding whether the Trump presidency is good for your portfolio or a risk to your investments, keep this in mind. Interest rates, I guess they can go negative or they can go to zero, but they're very low in historic terms. So there's not a lot of flexibility in terms of cutting interest rates to stimulate the economy. At the same time, in terms of spending, when you have a deficit of $1 trillion a year, as the United States does, and you have a debt of almost $20 trillion, again, there's not a lot of flexibility. There's not a lot of wiggle room in case a recession creeps up upon the United States. In conclusion, I want to leave you with this idea, with this point, that the Trump administration, by its spending, by its low interest rates, doesn't have a lot of flexibility. In a way, it's shooting its bolt in the year before the election year. And what that means is if there's an event, some kind of a shock to the global economy, the United States is not in a good position to respond. That's all the time we have today on The Investment Advisor. I'm your host, Matthew Stevenson, in partnership with Dukascopy TV. Remember, money can take care of you. It cannot take care of itself.